So for our final project in the class, we're going to be making multiple works, and each piece that you make will inform the one after it. We'll go over this in more detail, but our final project is going to include a multi-step process of not only designing the piece, but also producing it. I'm going to go over it briefly, and then I'm going to show you some samples from a previous semester's students' projects. So you're going to begin by creating 2 collages. You may use magazines, printed pictures from the internet, newspaper clippings, buttons, glitter, construction paper. Perhaps you have some old scrapbooking paper, advertisements, labels from bags or bottles, and what have you. You can pick whatever you want to include in your collage, and the collage theme can be whatever you choose. So you're going to make this collage, and like I said, you can include essentially anything, old projects that you feel like we're using, making a new pattern, using jewelry or feathers or other elements that you can attach to this collage to make an original piece. I want 2 of them. I want them both to be your paper size of a full piece of paper in the pad that we've been using this whole semester in class. So you're going to make them at least that size, where you're going to fill up the entire page with a design, retaining, of course, all the things that you've learned so far in terms of design and composition. So I'm expecting you to be able to use the words that we've learned throughout this semester and apply those words to your piece. I want you to consider color and how you are going to include color in your image. So what you're going to do first is make these 2 large collages. I want both collages to relate to each other and be in the same theme or topic. This means that I'm looking for you to make 2 pieces that work together as one artwork, where they relate to each other, okay? So you're gonna make these 2 pieces. A diptych, if you ever want to think about that way. A diptych is a piece of artwork that is of 2 separate parts to create the whole piece. There's also triptychs, which is when 3 parts create the whole work. So I want these 2 collages to relate to each other in their context, the topic, the color, the included images, and so on. So from this, you're going to be creating drawings, sketches, if you will, and I'll show you exactly what I want in terms of you producing these sketches, but I want you to make 6 color sketches or drawings. You'll make a viewfinder to look through, and you're going to draw what you see. So the drawings are going to be a portion of an overall part of your collage drawn out as its own image. So you're going to then look at your work, choose a selection from the whole thing, one part of your design, and you're going to find a secondary design within your first composition, and you're going to draw that in color. So these are all portions of the total collage drawn out as its own singular thing, and you'll be looking at the design of your collages to find secondary designs based off of what you frame in your viewfinder. After you make a minimum of 6 color drawings, you're going to select one of these, and you're going to use the composition and color of that drawing to create a new 2-dimensional piece of art. It can be any type of media you feel like working in for this final, whether it's another collage, drawing, painting, however you feel like finishing, and whatever materials you have at your disposal right now. So I'm going to show you some examples of this particular process that we're doing with some previous student work. Some of them are much stronger than others. So we'll start with this one. This was one of my previous students' collages. She's taken eyes from magazines. She's taking models. She has a pattern here with a pattern of flowers and other use and repetition of flowers. She's sticking to a pale color scheme. It's kind of cool. The tint of colors. So if you remember what a tint is, it's when you add white to a color. So we have these tinted versions of hues, and overall I would say there's a lot of light blue and some purples and pinks, so very feminine. Here's the secondary collage that she made. So these 2 worked together. Again, more repetition of acknowledgement of eyes in a way, removing or adding them, the notion of being watched, if you will. We have more flower patterns, some hands, that she included that she drew in herself. And overall, you can see a reuse of a very similar hue of blue with pinks and purples added in. So her final piece was this painting. She's inspired by Frida Kahlo. She explained the feelings she had of being watched. So that's why there's a lot of repetition of eyes. She's into that surrealist type of stuff, so you can see the set of eyes looking at her while she's looking out. There's an inclusion of natural objects and flowers, right, which you can also see in her collages. Her hand. The use of negative space here is really nice. So this is one of the finals. Here's probably one of the best examples I can show you. There are clips here from art history books, things that she has hung up in her apartment, a cyanotype she made in my class. There's a clip of her drawing here, clips from magazines, other texts, chicken wire. It's overall very blue. She has the inclusion of some neutral colors with this cream color she's including and other sepia tones, as well as the inclusion of the contrasting color blue. She's included some yellow and orange here. It's a really nice contrast. Here's her other collage that she had. Again, you can see how these two collages relate to each other. There's the repetition of blue. There's other parts of drawings that she included in one and the other. There's repeated use of chicken wire. So we have an additional pattern as well as repetition between the two pieces, material which is used in both and connects them. The same with the inclusion of these drawings, these sepia tone pictures, images that look like they're from history books, art history books specifically, as well as some text. You can see here how these are relating in terms of their images of women, drawings, and historical references, as well as the color palette. Here are the selection of drawings that she chose to include. These are two of them. So she used a viewfinder to look at a portion of her image, and she drew that part out. Here's another one, two more drawings, and the last two here. These are all representative of her piece. You can see how she's drawing out the chicken wire. You can see how she's drawing out these different images. You can see how she's reproducing color here, parts of her composition to create a new composition. The final piece she turned in was this image here. Really nice balance of these neutral brown tones in the corners here with this overall blue. Really nice design work in finding this composition within her original one. Here's another two compositions. You can see how these two relate to each other. There's the flower border, a lot of body positivity, very feminine colors, flowers also being feminine, motivational words, a lot of female empowerment here. Of course, a very common theme. And in the end, she produced this piece. I would like to see a little more effort put into the work when it comes to you creating your final piece. I think this is a little simple. But you can see here how she got this based off of her previous work with the flower for the head, the figure, really nice line work. Another student's work is here. This is one of the two collages that informed her final work. She's using scrapbook paper to get this nice glitter. She's also repurposed some of her patterned project, the patterned paper that she created, to make additional shapes. So you can see the patterned paper in the back here with the butterfly, or these swirlies are in the back. That's all from her pattern assignment. A lot of soft mauve colors, rust colors, mustards, and teal, blue. These are some of her drawings. They are not color, which is what I would expect from you. But these are all segments from her piece where she's making these windows and drawing out what she sees. And this is what she finally created here. She's not reproducing a smaller aspect of her image in a larger way. She's using the design of that and the color for a new composition. This student picked her scabs to the point where they would bleed or scar. And this is one of the things she used to discuss when she would have therapy, where her therapist would send her home with tips on how to stop this habit, changing OCD habits, managing home care of OCD. One of the methods she had for stopping picking her wounds would be photographing her body after she picks her scabs as a way to try to stop it by looking at it. So she has these images here that she took for her doctor recording her doing this act. She has instructions from her doctor on how to stop. And she has these abstract representations of blood and of damage. So she used this. She made a couple drawings here. Again, I would like them to be in color. I would like you to have all 6 drawings a pretty big size. Some of these are too small for what I would accept. I want you to include, about 2 to 3 drawings on a piece of paper in your pad. And this was the final piece that she produced. It was with pastel, and she produced this very abstract version of flesh and blood and the act of picking. There's this really nice abstract composition that was produced from the original piece. So again, to show you these collages, we have these fabulous drawings that she's produced, very specifically looking at the work and rendering that out in another way. Watercolor here, and then finally her final large piece. So for your final project, again, to review what I showed you at the very beginning of this lecture, is you're going to make 2 collages. I want you to fill up at minimum the entire page from the pad we've been using all semester, and I want your collages to relate to each other in terms of their theme. I want you to make 6 color drawings from those collages, and to do that, you're going to create a viewfinder to look through, and you're going to draw what you see. These drawings are a portion of your collage, drawn out as its own composition, its own image. And you'll be looking at the design of your collages to find secondary designs based off of what you frame in the viewfinder. Here's really simple examples I find online of framing within a viewfinder, particularly framing a secondary composition within a primary one. So you can see here how they're selecting a portion of the overall image to be able to make a composition. So essentially that's what you'll do. You'll create a window, and then you're going to draw whatever fits inside of that window. So you're going to create your drawings. Then you're going to select one of your drawings, and you're going to use that drawing to create a 2-dimensional piece of art. You're going to use that drawing to inform your final composition and color choice. It can be any media type you feel like working in, whether you want to draw or paint. I will include deadlines for both an in-process submission date and your final submission date. Remember that I want you to title the work, and I want you to write a short artist statement about the piece. When you're writing about your statement, please remember that an artist statement is based on the content of the work and not how you produce the work. Please make sure that you're telling me what the work is about, why it's important, why you've made the decisions you've made, but don't tell me how you produce the work. I want to know why you did it certain ways, not necessarily how. If you have any questions, I'm available to you, and I look forward to seeing your work.